sitting comfortably?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Are You Sitting Comfortably on East London Radio. My name is Roo. Your name is...
Scott, as always. Hello.
Scott. We're all here together, all two of us. How have you been, Scott?
Very well, thank you. How have you been?
Oh, you know.
Yes, I do. 'Cause I follow you on Facebook, so I've been seeing all your sickeningly lovely pictures of the holiday you've been on.
Yes, I was in Spain. I was in Sitges, you know, and I wanted to see a movie out there, but it would have been in Spanish, so I wouldn't have understood what was going on.
Oh, that's true.
Probably best I didn't. Unless, of course, I'm sure they do English subtitled movies in Spain, don't they? Because they know a lot of English people live in Spain.
Well, I don't know.
That's like us doing Spanish subtitles.
But that'd be watching a film that was filmed in English, then dubbed over into Spanish, and then with English subtitles underneath. It'd be very...
That's
it's
true,
a long way round.
Yeah. So we have seen a movie.
Yes, I've seen several.
Since Spain.
Right, yes.
And it was called Man From U.N.C.L.E.
It was.
Or is it called Man From U.N.C.L.E.? Is that what we should be saying, Scott?
No, it's definitely Man From U.N.C.L.E. Because the other one's too much effort. I'm not saying UNC. I'll spell it wrong as well. It'll end up being UCLA or something. And
SMRT. That's Homer Simpson spelling smart. So you watched the television series of it, did you?
A little bit when I was younger, yes. It was one of those wonderfully low-budget spy shows on the
the Avengers.
I never saw the Avengers.
Not Marvel's Avengers.
I was going to say. Yes, very. You're thinking Steed and Mrs. Peel.
Yes.
Yeah, similarly. And the original Mission Impossible as well. With the kind of slightly crap, but the kind of 60s TV series type thing.
Thunderbirds.
Yeah, but no puppets. And yeah.
So people acted like puppets.
Yeah. And you could tell there were elements of the TV series in the movie. It was quite nice to see a bit of an homage.
Well, I thought the same thing about Mr. Holmes. That you could see that they had really tried very hard to crowbar elements of the book in for the benefit of the people who read the books. Obviously, a lot of people would have gone to have seen that who haven't read the books. But when you have that history in your head, you always feel a little bit more involved. So I can see why perhaps you were a little bit more attached to Man From U.N.C.L.E. than me.
Ooh.
But we'll discuss how comfortably we were sitting later, because we're going to go over a few other things first. But first of all, we're asking the question, who said this?
Sex with a watermelon!
Any ideas, Scott?
I honestly have...
Sex with a watermelon!
Who said that?
My parole officer? No, I don't know.
In 3, 2, 1.
Sex with a watermelon!
Any ideas? If you at home know who said...
Sex with a watermelon!
Please do get in touch with us at ELR Comfortably on Twitter, and you can use the Facebook page, which is, of course, facebook.com/ELR Comfortably. Now, we are going to move on to a slightly different bit of music by Marco Beltrami and Philip Glass. I think the last time we listened to Marco Beltrami, it was when The Woman in Black 2 came out. But less said about that, the better. Although this may well be a bigger flop.
Gosh.
Fantastic Four, the prelude. The music's good. The movie apparently isn't. But more on that in just a mo. Here we go. Little flurry of terror there at the end. I nearly splashed my water over the what do you call it? The desk, the little technical desk here with all my knobs and levers on.
Bits.
I thought it sounded very magical, very sort of wonderful, happy sort of 90s E.T.
And then it went a bit evil at the end.
It did, but apparently it's pretty miserable all the way through. Yeah. You and I haven't seen it.
No.
Now, up until the other day, I was thinking, I don't want to, because I know exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be miserable grey superhero movie. And I've seen quite enough superhero movies to last me a lifetime.
Couldn't be buggered.
No. And Ant-Man, was good. Yeah. Kind of inconsequential, but good.
Yes.
And I wasn't in the mood for quite some time to watch another. I mean, we've got plenty to come, haven't we?
Yeah, I think...
Pace yourselves.
Exactly. I am actually a little bit bored of superhero movies now.
Especially when they can't be bothered to crack a smile.
Well, yes. Or if you're going to do gritty and dark, then fine. But Fantastic Four isn't Batman. It's not meant to be gritty.
No, it's
and
not
dark.
meant to be, is it? No.
It's the name Fantastic Four. They're supposed to be having fun.
Well, apparently the was it 2005?
It was.
The 2005 movie is more near the mark in terms of the vibe of the comics. But the reason why my opinion of watching it may have changed is because people are saying it is so bad, awful, like not just kind of I could have done without it, but really an insult to the Fantastic Four franchise. It's got 3.9 out of 10 on IMDb, 8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And so it's more of a car crash kind of situation in that...
Because this is meant to be better than the last.
Yeah, but you shouldn't look, but you really want to. Just
yeah,
to see
exactly.
what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it. You want to see it just to be able to talk about how bad it is, to be able to take the mickey out of it.
To tell your grandkids, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw how bad it really was. And the most embarrassing thing for them is that they've removed the old Fantastic Four movies from all streaming services because they were apparently too embarrassing for them, and they wanted to focus on only the new franchise. I don't think we're going to see a sequel.
Oh, fingers crossed we don't see a sequel.
People here are saying on Rotten Tomatoes, it's not that Fantastic Four is joyless, it's that it's borderline amateur. Plot makes increasingly little sense. Knowing humour of films like Iron Man and Guardians of the Galaxy is completely absent. A tangled and weak script. Yeah.
Well, the director guy...
takes itself too seriously.
Yeah. Well, the director guy, his first film was it was an indie thing, wasn't it? It was a found footage thing about kids with superpowers.
There's a lot of that happening lately. Chronicle, that was.
Yes.
And Michael B. Jordan was obviously in that as well, looking just as fabulous as he does in Fantastic Four. Another reason worth going to watch it.
You say he looks fabulous. He looks fabulous in the trailer and the posters. We
Well,
don't
yes.
know what he might not... He might...
But, I'm sure there's a gratuitous shirtless scene.
Well,
You've got
fingers
Michael B.
crossed.
Jordan, for goodness sake.
Well, I wish I had.
That's probably why it's got 8%. To be fair.
At least 4 of those percent are just Michael B. Jordan's abs.
Yes, 2% for each nipple.
And why not? But I think he's the director whose name I've forgotten, Josh Trank.
Yes.
I think Hollywood's going to forget it quite quickly as well.
He says that he's not going to do another comic book movie ever again.
I don't think he's going to do another movie ever again.
You think? Well, hang on. No, we haven't seen it.
Well,
See,
this is true.
this is the question. Should we be listening to the critics, or should we be, because I love Saw 6. And none of the critics liked that. Saw 6, for me, because I was dedicated to the series, was really a fantastic what should have been finale, but wasn't.
But then there's no series for Fantastic Four to be attached to. I mean, it's a Marvel movie, but it's not a Marvel movie. It was a Marvel comic.
That's right.
But it's owned by Fox, who did the really asshat legal thing of hanging on to the property for exactly as long as they could
before doing another.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they could have been part of the Avengers, I guess.
Yeah, oh God.
Yeah,
even more
if
people
only.
to shoehorn into Infinity War or whatever it is.
Well, because Marvel were unhappy with the direction the film was taking while it was in production, apparently they made mention of it in the comics themselves, in one called The Punisher 14.
I like The Punisher.
Oh, do you?
I do, yeah.
Ah. So did you see this where they had the likeness of the people from the film as Fantastic Four all get killed in an explosion? I mean, there's no better way to express your outrage, is there, as Marvel?
That's impressive. But then even the director tweeted that he wasn't happy with the version that got released. Like, apparently his version of the film was much better and has been messed with by the studio and something.
Because they ordered lots of reshoots, didn't they, repeatedly?
Yeah, and Miles Teller, who I actually quite fancied. I liked him in
Miles Teller.
The Reed Richards in this Fantastic Four. He was also in the drummer in that S&M, that sexless S&M film.
S&M?
It was all very abusive.
Sexless S&M?
It was a whole intense abusive relationship. He was playing the drums in that film that I can't remember the name of.
So it's like 50 bangs on the drum instead of 50 Shades of Grey. I don't know.
Exactly. He was in that, and he was very good. But I think there was a cringing interview with him in, I think it was Rolling Stone, where he was just talking about how amazing he was and how he's gonna his work is gonna benefit Hollywood as a whole and all this kind of thing. And
Always one of them.
Yes, and
This is Fantastic Four, and I think everybody in it is a symptom of when Hollywood just is too Hollywood. Everything's trying to be far too controlled, and they're trying to please everybody, and in the end, they just terribly upset everyone. Apparently, right? The rock guy, the Thing, has a catchphrase, doesn't he?
if you say so.
It's something time. It's smashing time.
No, that's Hulk smash is Hulk's. It's pounding time or something like that. That sounds wrong, doesn't it?
Well, no, this is the Thing. Let me have a look here. The Thing catchphrase is.
Oh, we're doing a Google.
We're doing a Google. Just talk among yourselves.
All right. But then, so yeah, bad movies. I think is it going to become, do you think, one of those bad movies that we love to hate, along the lines of kind of Barbarella or Elvira, two of my favourite movies actually.
Or Sharknado.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Or The Room, even, possibly the worst film ever made. Or is it going to be one of those kind of Catwoman movies?
Oh,
that just exactly. That's not so. You don't love to hate it. You just
Halle Berry.
Yeah.
Everybody says that's awful, and it's another one I've not seen.
Oh,
But-
I wouldn't unless you're really feeling quite self-hating, and
There's
you
a
just
lot.
want to spend a lump of your life on nothing.
There's a lot of superhero films out there that are reviewed as awful, just really bad. Do you think it's just luck, or do you think Marvel really has what it takes to make good Marvel movies? Do you think their luck will run out? I mean, it's not as though they did well with The Incredible Hulk, and it's not as though they did well with Iron Man 2 either. And the first Captain America was just awful. Do you think it's just that they are not as horrendous as the other ones out there? So we're all like, actually, this is quite good.
Possibly, and I think as well, the Marvel comics have a much broader appeal because they're all a little bit happier, a bit more can-do, a bit lighter.
Yes.
And so they naturally appeal to a lot more people, whereas stuff like DC, which is quite dark and quite gritty mostly,
Yes.
doesn't translate well into a summer blockbuster because it's not as family-friendly.
You do come out of the cinema feeling quite
Drained.
yeah, quite heavy. His battle cry, the Thing, is it's clobbering time,
Right.
which apparently in this latest Fantastic Four reboot has become not his catchphrase, but the catchphrase of his uncle or someone, at least in his family, who was abusing him in his childhood.
With that phrase.
It's clobbering time. And this has upset many people I noticed on Twitter who, obviously that's meant to be sort of the fun-filled catchphrase of the superhero saving the day, and it's become this dark sort of twisted. I don't know who thought that was a good idea.
No, and why would you even have abusive family relationships in a superhero film?
Well, perhaps that was in the comics. The comics weren't, from what I gather, from what I've seen, from what I've read, they don't ever shy away from the gritty, but they managed to focus more on the colourful and the saving the positivity, the hope, and all that.
The more that we're talking about this, I think I am going to have to watch this movie, just because I can't imagine how they're going to handle that in a way that makes sense or is in any way useful for the character's arc or something, or whether it's just going to be, this is what was his name, Johnny Storm, something awful.
Michael B. Jordan, Johnny Storm, yeah.
Yeah, or was it Ben Grimm who's the Thing, who was the one who?
Yes.
I don't see how they're going to make Ben Grimm's upbringing, where he gets beaten by his uncle every clobbering time, into part of his arc.
I like the way he's got the surname Grimm.
Yeah, because just in case you didn't get it.
Yeah, just in case. It's pretty grim stuff. Okay, so we're asking the question throughout the rest of the show. Who said this?
Sex with a watermelon!
Who said sex with a watermelon? If you know the answer, at ELR comfortably on Twitter and use the Facebook page. Now, we're going to move into Man from U.N.C.L.E. with a little bit of here we go again with my pronunciation. Signori Toiletto Italiano by Daniel Pemberton. Here we go. Lovely little piece of music there from Daniel Pemberton. I do love a bit of Pemberton.
Jolly good. Which bit in particular?
His musical Foray? Is that a word?
Really wondered what you were going to say then.
Foray? Am I getting that right?
No.
I've spent far too long away from university. Foray? How do you even spell foray? What? There's a word I'm looking. His musical
Talent?
No, better than talent.
I
Thesaurus. Here we go. Googling again.
God.
I'll get back to you on that one. But we are going to just give you 30 seconds worth of what is Man From U.N.C.L.E. all about.
You ready?
Yeah, Man From U.N.C.L.E. is about a time when tensions were running high after the Second World War, Cold World War, the Cold War, and we had obviously a spy from Russia and a spy from America, as well as a spy from England, all coming together to save the day from a group of bad guys who are trying to get hold of some nuclear warheads, for something I didn't quite understand. The story was very all over the place, but of course that leads to comedy because they don't like working together.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that does it for me.
Okay.
Yeah, well done.
Forte.
Forte.
That's the word I'm looking for. His musical forte. Yes. Now, we're going to play a little bit more music from Man From U.N.C.L.E. before we we roll up our sleeves and really delve into Henry Cavill. And who's the other geezer?
I want to say Ilya Kuryakin. It's Arnie Hammer.
Armie
Hammer. Which is a very strange name.
Yes, it's always expect his catchphrase to be "It's clobbering time." Okay, so once again, we're asking the question: who said this?
Sex with a watermelon!
And we'll be with you again in about 3 minutes after we've broken in and searched the factory. Lovely stuff.
Worthy of Ron Burgundy himself right there.
Ron Burgundy?
Yeah.
I recognise the name. Who's Ron Burgundy?
He's the guy from Anchorman.
Oh, yes, of course. Which I haven't seen.
Good Lord.
I
man.
know, I really need to get on this tonight. That and Mrs. Doubtfire.
Very similar movies in a lot of ways.
So, how comfortably were you sitting during Man From U.N.C.L.E?
Which stands for, don't look at your sheet.
Oh, the United Nations...
Not Central?
No, I'm going to have to look at my sheet.
Oh, all right then.
Okay, the United Network Command for Law and Enforcement.
Right.
So it is UNCLE.
It feels like rather a forced acronym, that one, but never mind.
They were definitely going for uncle, weren't they?
They'd chosen the word first and then tried to work out what the letters were.
Because, I mean, really, it should be UNCLE.
That's...
No, not even that. It should be Uncfloy.
Uncfloy.
Yes, I like it. Sounds German.
Anyway.
Yeah,
I found... my usual way of rating a film is how long it takes for my bum to go numb,
right?
As a point of boredom. My bum
is that also how you rate your your sexual life?
I don't know what you're talking about. Let's crash on.
Crashing on.
And my bum was numb quite early on. The first half hour or so, maybe even maybe the first hour, I was quite bored.
Yes, I did lose blood to my forearm during that time as well.
Really?
Why are you looking at me? No, because I was in a funny position.
Oh, I see.
And,
I see. But yeah, I found it... I didn't care about any of the characters. I found it difficult to invest in any of them for quite a while into the film.
That was, I think, intentional for at least the first half of the film. You could split the film down the middle. The first half was very kind of comedy, let's not take this too seriously. The second half was, actually now, we want you to take this seriously. But you can't do that because, as you say, because it was so sort of tongue-in-cheek in the first place, you haven't really taken these characters on in an emotional way, which means you're not really going to really care about them or be invested in them when things start getting gritty later on. It should have been a mix of those themes throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I think even some kind of character development for the first hour, rather than just the American is smug, the Russian is grumpy. Yes. That was pretty much all we got, and it was smug versus grumpy. But
they could have really pushed it and made it very tongue-in-cheek And they're not bothered with the gritty later on.
Yeah, I mean, there was a torture scene later on that felt...
Well, I mean, again, that turned into a bit of a comic piece.
It did, but it was strangely done, I think. I think it felt off balance.
It's like they wanted you to think that actually they're going to push it, and then they didn't again.
Yeah.
It's like, they didn't quite go far enough with any of the theme of the vibe there with the comedy or the horror or the whatever.
I think they were trying to please too many people and managed to not really. Well, they didn't please me particularly with it. I think it was.
I could have taken it or left it.
Yeah,
it's fine. I didn't find it especially offensive or upsetting, or I didn't come out thinking, why have I wasted that much time? I just immediately forgot it.
Yeah.
It just immediately left my brain.
Which is a shame, really. But it is mediocre.
Would you rather watch Man From U.N.C.L.E. than Mission Impossible 5?
Yes.
You would?
I think so.
Really? Because I would really rather watch Mission Impossible 5 again. Even though I know...
Why?
Because...
To try and work out what it was about.
yes, have another stab at that.
Yeah.
But because Mission Impossible 5, I think it knows how daft it is. Whereas I got the impression that Man From U.N.C.L.E. thought it was being very clever, and actually it wasn't as clever as it thought it was.
Yes.
I mean, did you actually understand what it was about?
Italians are bad guys. That was all I got, really.
But I mean, it kind of did the Doctor Who method of I'm being clever because I'm overlapping things. I'm making you rewatch clips from earlier as a smug way of saying you didn't see that coming, but I could remember the clip without you showing me because it happened 5 seconds ago anyway.
Yeah, and they did
so
that
stop trying
a
to be
lot.
clever because
Yeah.
I am still with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Something about Italians.
The master thief guy bumps into someone walking into a place that he needs an invite
Yes.
for. What's he going to have done? He's stolen the invite.
Yeah, obviously.
But smugly, 2 minutes later, the film has to show us him bumping into him and stealing the invite.
Not only that, but
from a different
he
angle.
has to explain to the other woman first. So we kind of get an explanation of what's happened 3 times
Yeah.
before they kind of believe that we've got the idea.
But and if they'd done that once, that would have been irritating. but then
passable.
we'd moved on.
Yeah.
But 5 or 6 different things where we flash back and we see it from another angle, so that everything can tie up neatly.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're not
But
stupid.
especially when it's this isn't going back to Saw here once more.
Oh, Lord.
This isn't Saw. You're not having to remember things from movies ago. It's quite useful when they did that in Saw. This is stuff from, as I say, like 10 minutes ago. We know it. We just saw it now.
Do
It's
you
fine.
think perhaps even the movie is worried that we're not paying enough attention? That it's boring us so much that it has to remind us of what's happening.
It's the impression I got from it,
Yeah.
I must say.
It was very odd, and I didn't. There was
if
if we're having a bit of a rant.
Oh, go on,
Yes.
go on.
The swoosh. There was a lot of shaky cam, which
There was, yes. Nobody's
annoys
learned the
me.
lessons that Mad Max taught us quite well about keeping your action central so that we don't have to keep looking for it. Especially, I was sitting quite close to the screen, so
Oh, I was
having to bend my neck all over the place to try and keep up with the action.
But yeah, shaky cam, lots of crash zooms and stuff. There were points.
But that was kind of stylistic. That's more sort of like I see that a lot in things that are trying to be 80s.
Yeah,
You know?
it was definitely. I think they were definitely doing some stuff from the TV show with that.
Yeah.
But they overdid it, and it made me feel a bit sick. Actually, there were points where I had to close my eyes because of all the swirling and swooshing around. It was almost as bad as
Transformers.
no, Jesus, no. Man of Steel, which I saw in 3D, and there's a big, the big section in the middle,
Oh,
in the
I
middle
know
where they
exactly
do the
what you
silver storytelling, swirling around thing. I had to take my glasses off and look at something else for a minute while that was happening because I actually thought I was going to be sick. And there were points in this where I closed my eyes because I just couldn't watch it for feeling like I was going to puke all over whoever was sat in front of me. And,
But that didn't happen as much as the whole flashbacky thing.
No.
I feel like that was just a sort of an action habit that the film had, but there wasn't too much action in it. There wasn't as much action as the trailer implied. I thought it was going to be more to do with wordplay and sort of
sparring.
yeah, that's the impression I got from the opening of the film anyway, when Henry Cavill was guiding a lady about in the car. I quite enjoyed that. I was like, oh, this is going to be a very wordy film. But it was more just about sort of visual tricks and trying to be clever and whipping tablecloths off things, and it wasn't doing it for me entirely.
And
as you mentioned as well,
Did I?
the whole the gag that they repeat several times, where there's something epic or hilarious or explosive happening in the background of a shot while two people have a perfectly normal conversation,
or someone has a picnic. At the front.
Exactly.
And it's kind of it's. I can see what you're going for, and you do it once if you like, I suppose, but 2 or 3 times, and it just got. It was like the director Guy Ritchie. He's not bad.
It's the first film he's done since Sherlock Holmes, the sequel.
Which
was a flop.
But I know I'm not supposed to admit this, but I actually quite liked it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A Game of Shadows?
Yeah.
Huh.
It was there were some bits I didn't like because some bits of it were crap, but it wasn't.
It's a sequel.
Yeah. And Robert Downey Jr. makes a good Sherlock, I think. He's essentially just being a Victorian Iron Man, I suppose. He's just Tony Stark in the Victorian era.
I just didn't like the way that, unlike Mr. Holmes, the film I referenced earlier,
with
Ian McKellen.
Oh yeah, Serena McKellen.
Guy Ritchie's Sherlock really looks as if it's trying to make Sherlock very entertaining for the younger generation, whereas Mr. Holmes is very slow-paced. It should have been on ITV1.
And I think should we veer back around towards
Absolutely.
Man From U.N.C.L.E. But yeah,
there's going to be a sequel. This was an origin story. There's going to be a sequel.
Well, they definitely set it up in that way. Although one of the things that annoyed me was a clip in the trailer was literally the last 20 seconds of the film. And I'm like, well,
oh, you mean when he says you've
Yeah.
got your code name? It is Uncle.
Uncle. Yeah, he
because
doesn't explain
it's the
it
name
or
of
anything.
everybody involved.
Yeah. Right, is that the spoiler horn?
That's the spoiler
Right.
horn. Yes.
A little bit late since
Well,
the spoiler came before the horn.
Well, I mean, it just implies that everything's fine in the end.
Yeah,
But then I never got the impression that everything wouldn't be fine in the end. I was never, white knuckle on my cinema seat. I was never concerned.
No, nor me. It's a little.
I think that's the problem. The stakes weren't high in either direction.
Yeah.
They didn't really push the comedy enough, so it didn't make me laugh heartily, and they didn't get me worried enough. They didn't get me stressed enough either. It was all very
exactly.
middle ground.
And there was a point where I'll do my best to make sure you don't have to use the spoiler horn again.
Yes.
There was a point where one character betrays another. And it was what they did it as it was one of those flashbacky bits where they go, oh look what we did, aren't we clever?
But we already got that. We already did that 5 minutes before.
I know, but then the character that was doing the betraying played it. It was quite well acted, but because we didn't have that much of an idea what was going on at that point,
Yeah.
she was just staring glumly for a minute, and like, well, she just looks bored. Put the telly on, love. Rather than staring at the wall in your hotel room.
And she had to do it twice.
Well, yeah, but it just, I didn't care enough about that film or anyone in it, and that's never a good. The point is to entertain and to draw us in and to make us want to root for the characters, and I didn't care.
I do think a sequel has potential, if only because it wasn't a bad film.
No, there was nothing.
And they can certainly learn from the mistakes of the first.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see what kind of a title they have for a sequel. I can't imagine it'd just be The Man from U.N.C.L.E. 2. It would be the woman from U.N.C.L.E.'s. The men from U.N.C.L.E.'s. The uncles? Yeah, with a plural. That could work.
What would the S be?
I don't know.
United Network Command for Law and Enforcement Services.
And stuff.
That'll
be it. Il mio Regno? Anyway, this was in the movie. Here we go. That's a fun little song. That does kind of sum up the vibe I think they were going for, but didn't quite achieve throughout. 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is fair.
Yeah.
Just okay.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
I was thinking about spies and wartime stuff, and I was thinking it's really about time we had a reboot of LOLO, isn't it? In the cinema.
Wow. A dark and gritty retelling of the LOLO story.
Yes, good moaning with the policeman and everything. It's all there. They could do a Man from U.N.C.L.E. style LOLO, couldn't they?
Renee.
That was scary.
I think actually one thing...
Pardon me.
Goodness, hello. One thing I just wanted to say very quickly was, I got the feeling they were going for quite a Kingsman style, a Kingsman feel, and they missed it completely.
Yes.
It felt like they were
Kingsman
aiming
got that.
for cheeky fun, and they just didn't get there. And do you know what I mean?
Yes. It's because the action in Kingsman was cheeky, as well as the chatting and the talking, and whereas this suddenly everything went kind of serious during the action, and then back to cheeky when people were having a chat.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Whereas obviously, talk about the church thing in Kingsman. That was the only bit of action I thought that really overstepped the mark in Kingsman. I did get quite uncomfortable during that. I thought this is meant to be a laugh. Calm down.
Yeah. I think the more I think about Man from U.N.C.L.E., the more I think you can see when they were filming that they filmed the action sequences.
Just testing our knobs and levers there. Sorry.
That the action sequences were filmed at a very different time to the talky fun bits.
Yes.
And it doesn't flow nicely. I think...
Maybe that's it.
Do you know what I mean?
Maybe flow's the word. Flow's what we were looking for and didn't quite get.
Poor old flow.
Yes. Well, we've been asking...
Sex with a watermelon!
Who said?
Sex with a watermelon!
Any ideas?
I have no idea on this one at all.
Well, it was obviously Dirk Gently from the BBC series.
Right.
Dirk Gently. Here we go.
I believe you, Macduff, hold the key to finding Henry the cat.
Me?
I would suggest you allow me to hypnotise you.
You think I'm going to let you hypnotise me? I'm not some gullible old woman, Gently. You're not going to con me into buying you a new fridge.
I already have a fridge. I've no need of another.
What can you possibly hope to uncover?
I believe you hold vital information behind the locked door of your unconsciousness. We need to smash the door open
I
and
don't
retrieve
trust hypnosis. You can make me do anything.
Oh, get a grip, Macduff! This isn't Freshers Week at the Students' Union! I'm not going to make you dance around like Elvis and have sex with a watermelon! Are you not at all curious as to the sequence of events that led you to your present nadir?
Did you watch Dirk Gently? They only did 3 episodes and then it got cancelled.
Funny that. No. It's Stephen Mangham, wasn't it?
Yes, and he's very good.
He's quite good.
Good in Green Wing.
Yeah, he did Green Wing and something else and was really good. And then they did episodes. And, And him and Tamsin Greig are 2 of my favourite comedy people.
It just didn't.
No.
Definitely not. But why am I playing sound clips from Dirk Gently? It's not because he's a detective like the other geezers in U.N.C.L.E. It is because Daniel Pemberton did the music. So 33A Peck Ender Street N1, and then we're hurtling into the end of the show. Let's get this done. Now, as we were saying about Michael Giacchino putting his stamp on all of his music, you can certainly hear that Daniel Pemberton has some similar tricks kind of up his sleeve with the kind of vibe he goes for with his twangy, twangy noises.
Definitely.
Yes. I think he did a good job with Man from U.N.C.L.E.
All right.
I was sitting there thinking, well, at least the music's on point.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the Italian ladies' outfits as well. They were very good.
They were lovely too.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is that if you're into good music, Italian ladies' outfits, and Henry Cavill's jawline, you're certainly worth watching Man from U.N.C.L.E. No, there's a lot more going for it than that, but just don't expect to be blown away. That's the simple truth.
Yeah, sadly.
It's the kind of thing you'd watch while doing the ironing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wait until it's out on DVD. Do the ironing.
Yeah, do your housework while you're watching.
Yeah. Well, it's been another week's worth of fun-filled film fun.
Ooh, double fun there. Do you know what we haven't done this week?
What haven't we done?
We haven't mentioned Farscape.
Oh, well, there you go.
There we go.
There we
Hooray.
are. Farscape's the best.
Very close there to missing that one entirely.
I was going to say something. You've completely taken it from my head now because I want to go and watch Farscape while doing the ironing. Yes. So if you want to tweet us, please do at ELR Comfortably and use the Facebook page, facebook.com/ELR Comfortably. Tell us the kind of things you want us to talk about and the kind of music you want us to play. If you get bored, listen to our back catalogue,
Yes.
mixcloud.com/ Roobox. And listen as well, even if you're not bored, actually. It's great for the train into work, if it's working. Now, we're going to bow out.
I am. Bye. That's it, really. That's my bowing out. Ta-ra. See you next week.
Escape from East Berlin.
Or just going home to Hoxton. Either way.
Hoxton, Berlin, same thing.
Join us next week for another thrilling episode of Are You Sitting Comfortably?